This one is about Maddie Boa and me having a mental breakdown. Natalie Bollinger pretended like I stalked her to Virginia. That wasn't the case. We've already got the recordings from Amanda Daniels that show I was planning on seeing her too. We've got the messages with Mahalia Jean-Pierre that show I was going to rescue her as well. We've also got the conversations with Brett Roloff. I'm gonna pause this. I didn't put the towel under my door. Sound travels. Anyway, the situation. Oh, sorry. Apple juice in my mustache. Alright, so when I left Virginia, obviously Natalie and her sister kept on inviting me to go do fun things, which is great, you know. I really needed positivity. But it was rough on Natalie, and I really with Tim Beatson calling her up and threatening to blow his head off and all that shit. And that car I'd gotten from Laura Nelson not working so good. I actually bought it from her husband. So I had that evidence. I had it on a phone. Laura admitted to it, but that phone got stolen. Anyway, with the situation in Virginia, the evidence shows that I was at the hospital, had saline put into me on the 23rd. The messages between Natalie and I show that, yeah, I let her know that I was dehydrated on my birthday. She was aware of it. We were supposed to just have a picnic somewhere close by, but that didn't end up happening. Her sister wanted to go do something special for my birthday and take me to Elliot's Coffee Grounds. You don't invite people to go places if they're stalking you. Now, when I had a mental breakdown in Virginia from the bullshit from Jerry Sparks and Lana Engeline and Tyler Frericks and Amanda Engeline and my dad and Candace Bondurant, you know, I needed a safe place to go. That phone that Alycia gave me and put into her name, that ended up screwing me. You know, gift horse and all that, but you need to look a gift horse in the mouth. There's a reason for that. If you're dependent upon that horse, it gets an abscessed tooth and fucking dies on you out in the middle of nowhere. You're screwed. With the lack of payphones in America, they used to have them all over the place in the 80s and even in the 90s, but today you'd be hard pressed to find one. People expect everybody to have a cell phone. I got back to Boulder, and of course the rumors were there before I got there. It took me just a few days to drive from Virginia to Boulder, Colorado, and Brenda Dickinson had sent me some money, and a couple other people had sent me some money so that I could actually get back. One of them's name was Alex Furman, and one of them was Brandon Ratner. Like, these people were involved in the situation. Brenda Dickinson was involved in helping me to get to Virginia. So was Laura Nelson. I finally made it back to Boulder, Colorado. I was actually real excited to be there. It was a good day. It was a sunny day. I was outside of Starbucks. I even mounted up the elk out there. It was a good picture. But I'd only been there a few hours when some asshole wanted to come up and claim I was stalking some girl in Virginia. Now, almost every time I went to Boulder, I had to deal with one of these assholes, or more than one. Now, mind you, at this point, my back is completely screwed. There are not a whole lot of things I'm able to do physically because my back is screwed. And the one place where I had positivity in my life and was allowed to be me, I've got people threatening me and harassing me. And it started off just as, I heard you stalked some girl in Virginia. And of course, then it warped into even worse shit. By November, people are accusing me of being a rapist and all sorts of other creepy shit like that. Like, no, that ain't the case. And I was asking, who the fuck told you that, huh? Maddie Boa, Maddie told me. Well, eventually it got to the point where it wasn't just Maddie's friends. The rumor had gotten bigger. And of course, I'd like to go see my friends in Boulder without having to worry that I'm gonna run into one of these goddamn meth junkies before I get there, before I run into Mobley or Rabbit or someone like that, And I'd let Natalie and Alycia know, and Maddie. I unblocked all three of them, which, of course, I had blocked them when I left Virginia. When I'm done with you, I'm done with you. If you're gonna be making false accusations and claiming to the cops that I'm stalking you, yeah, I don't want to fucking associate with you. I'm done. I want to leave and be finished with you. There's no other reason for us to be in contact anymore if you're gonna pull that bullshit. But also, there's the fact that I'm being threatened and harassed and assaulted by people. Now, it wasn't until May or June of 2017 that some asshole slapped my phone out of my hand over at the band shell at Canyon and Broadway in Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, I don't want to fucking be there. I don't want to deal with assholes like that. I don't want to fucking deal with tweakers at all. I've already had my fill of them people. And yes, they're still human beings, but dude, enough is enough. And I had made a few posts where I had explained the situation in Virginia. I took full responsibility, and I even left out all of the fucked up shit that happened. I left out the heroin part. I left out the part where people were threatening me and harassing me, because really that's something I needed to talk to somebody in person. Especially when you're dealing with junkies, when you say, hey, openly on your Facebook, you say, hey, I'm dealing with a heroin junkie who told some lies, and now I got people treating me like a child molester or a rapist. People disappear. They're gone. The moment they read those words, they are fucking gone. So, of course, I got people getting a hold of me and sending me fucked up emails and calling me and all sorts of shit. I'm like, God damn it, I just want to be left the fuck alone. January of 2017, I was in low income in Chapel, Nebraska, and I was having a fucking mental breakdown over this shit. I'm trying to explain to Laura Nelson what's going on, and she probably heard more than anybody else, I suppose. Because everywhere else that I went, I wasn't able to vent. I couldn't vent over at Brenda Dickinson's because she wouldn't stop talking negative all the fucking time. And I'd gotten a hold of Maddie Boa, and I sent her a message saying I wanted to blow my head off in front of her, so close that she could feel my blood on her face. Maddie Boa was the first one I sent that to. The reason for that is because Maddie Boa was the one spreading the goddamn rumors. Maddie Boa was the one claiming I did things that I hadn't done. Now, it all started off with Sean being a stalker in Virginia, but it got way out of hand. People said, you need to move on, you need to move on. Why don't you just move? I fucking did. I moved to Chapel, Nebraska. I was in Chapel, Nebraska. It was hell. With Brenda Dickinson being on some pretty heavy pain meds for her rheumatoid arthritis, and talking about her poop all the time and being negative all the time, and then saying she's going to give it to God. And then, you know, of course, she's got Christian radio. It's Nebraska Christian radio. Basically, Nebraska Christian radio promotes things like, well, like that a woman owes it to her husband to let him have sex with her whenever he wants. A woman is supposed to be subservient to a man, and all this other fucking sexist goddamn bullshit that's not okay. And Brenda's got this shit on all the time. And she's talking negative, and she's saying, oh, I'm gonna give it to God, I'm gonna stop being negative, Lord help me to not be negative, cast out the demon of negative speech, and blah, fucking holy shit. And then right back to it, you know, right back to the same negative talking and telling me about her bowel movements. And it was like she couldn't understand that she was talking so much about her own shit. She's also telling me at that point that she thinks of me as a son and all sorts of shit like that. And Brenda really had been there for not just me, but a lot of other kids in town that were the children of low-income families, many of them abused at home. And I'd gone to see a few people to try to get help. One of those visits, I was up in Bayard, Nebraska, which is where my dad is from. I was visiting a distant cousin of mine named Amy Witcher, and her husband Andrew, who I knew from Chapel. And Andrew had Amy completely convinced that all of the meth stuff that they were finding in all of the crawl spaces and nooks and crannies of the house is because there was a meth addict who was living in their attic. There was a meth addict who was living in the crawl space. That's why she kept on finding this stuff. No, it's because her fucking husband was on fucking drugs. And I wanted to go see my older brother. And I was fucking sick of it. I had a different phone, of course. I was finally able to get one. Brenda Dickinson actually hooked me up with it. And I used it to get a hold of Natalie Bollinger and try to explain, hey, I'm being treated like a fucking monster. And that's where I started the cursing at her. Telling her she's a cunt. I was fucking sick of it. You know, everybody in America's strung out on fucking meth. I'm the only dude I know who's sober, basically. I mean, at that point, I wasn't even smoking weed. And I traded some of my tattoo equipment to Amy and Andrew while I was there. And of course I went back to Boulder. That's where I was planning on going. I wanted to go to Boulder to see my loved ones, and I was hoping that Natalie would finally put a fucking stop to it. God damn it, I needed it to stop. And of course, I went to Boulder, same shit. Pierre was gonna come meet with me. I was in Boulder, and I was over by the First United Methodist Church off of Pine Street. And I was having a real hard time, and Pierre came up to me, and I didn't need a jacket, but he was insistent that I take his jacket. He said he was gonna come talk to me the next day. And then he ignored me for 3 days, and I was like, hey dude, you know, you were gonna come talk to me, what gives? He fucking flipped shit at me. Not cool. He didn't keep his word. I really needed his help. I had given him just a little bit of a understanding of what had happened between Natalie and Alycia and I there in Virginia the night before, you know, when I had met with him. Of course, he was in a hurry, so for him meeting me the next day, you know, I needed to be able to explain to him in person, hey dude, this is what's going on, I need help stopping it. But he didn't show up. It sucked. And of course, I was still typing as nicely as I could about the situation in Virginia. Not telling everybody about Natalie's drug abuse. Not telling Natalie's secrets about her dad and her family. I just wanted it to stop. I moved in with Ken and Leah. Now, the day that I was supposed to leave Chapel, Nebraska to go move into Ken and Leah's, that was the first time that Tim Beeson got a hold of me. And I saved his messages with me as well. And he was a fucking dick. Calling me a chimo and calling me a druggie and all sorts of other fucked up shit. Like, goddamn, dude. This is a guy whose partying life was how he ended up with Natalie. He went to her school when she was a kid. Thought he was pretty fucking impressive. He was a fucking piece of shit, and he still is. He's threatened more than one person since Natalie's death, and he's threatened a few before. And it's magically okay for him to do these things. No, it's not okay. It's fucking wrong. But it didn't matter, did it? And I talked to Abel Ramos, and then of course the dude had sent me his address. Not Abel Ramos, but Tim Beeson. And of course I went to the wrong place. I went to an address in Boulder. I just assumed he was in Boulder, and I didn't have access to the address at the time. And by this point I had almost gotten my disability, or I might have had it already. Tamara had already quit her job. She'd told me that there's no services in Nebraska. I gotta go to the Front Range, so I went to the Front Range. I'm staying at Ken and Leah's. I'm visiting with Nicole Peralta when I can, having to drive all the way from Denver up to Sidney, Nebraska to see Nicole Peralta once a month. And I'm also trying to get things set up in Colorado with Colorado Coalition of the Homeless, the Stout Street Clinic, Jeff Ritter and Kara Heller. And I'm trying to tell Jeff what's going on and trying to explain it to Kara Heller, and of course they want to keep on changing the subject, you know, like everybody does. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It was fucked. And of course, the whole time I'm dealing with all of this shit, I'm not being able to see my friends. I can't even explain it to them because they're too busy texting. Hey, stop and listen. You're taking everything that I text wrong. So instead of doing that, try talking to me. By October of 2017, I'd already been assaulted on multiple occasions, one of those times by Derek Parrish. I'd started learning how to blacksmith over at Ken and Leah's. Ken and Leah had ripped me off for quite a bit of money. And Brandon Ratner had helped me to move out of the place in Chapel. So that's really when it all went into a fucking giant shithole. Because as soon as I moved to Ken and Leah's full time, of course, Ken and Leah had let me know that if the cops show up at their place over me, that I gotta move. So, of course, I'm trying to get Natalie Bollinger to do something about people like Tim Beeson and Maddie Boa and the rest of the goddamn meth junkies there. And she's wanting to have me served with a protection order. That's not going to happen. I haven't been at my place in Chapel, Nebraska in months. Months. Except to move. I couldn't have one served there because I wasn't there. When I was renting the place, I still wasn't there. I was at Ken and Leah's. And by this point, Tim Beeson had been threatening me for a while. I'd already talked to several officers about it. I'd talked to officers in Chapel, Nebraska about it, who told me that I just needed to man up and they had real police work to do. Is there going to be a police report when police tell you shit like that? No, they're not going to make any fucking effort to write a goddamn thing down. It's just blowing me off. And I'm trying hard not to have a mental breakdown. I had gone to see Jamie Curtis and her son up in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I was begging Jamie to kill me. She said if she didn't have a son that she would. She is pro-assisted suicide. And I do love her very much. And her son, despite all the fucked up shit that she did and the head games that she played. So I've still got this issue of, I've got these goddamn meth junkies who spread rumors, and the least that they could do is, if you want to pretend like I stalked you, fine, whatever, okay? Just admit that I didn't rape you and didn't fucking molest you. That's what all of this bullshit was about. Because Natalie Bollinger and her sister were fucking embarrassed. They outright lied because they were fucking embarrassed. They didn't want to get any trouble with Rose M. Kelly. So, fine. Whatever. That should have been the end of it. It shouldn't have been over a year of me being threatened, harassed, and stalked by assholes like, well, Tim Beeson. Now, I didn't have the ability to record the things that were going on at the beginning. I would have loved to. And I did write down part of what was going on. I didn't put people's names in it, but I was writing it down. I was putting it on Facebook, basically venting. God, it was so fucked up, and it just, all I wanted to do was see my older brother. And there was a couple of times where I went there that people had let me know that Eric was completely out of his fucking mind on methamphetamines. So on those occasions, one of them Mobley said, hey, we can go see your brother. I told him, no, dude, I don't want to fucking see him. I don't. He's fucking strung out on meth. I had already heard about his tantrum that morning and how he fucking flipped shit underneath the bridge and fucking threw a bunch of his stuff in the bridge and beating the hell out of some dude who was rooting through his stuff. The guy thought it was garbage. It looked like a pile of fucking garbage. So my brother beat him up, you know? Yeah, I don't want to fucking go see him when he's like that. It just sucked. And I had made a hammer. See, I don't make weapons, I make tools. When I was learning to blacksmith, I made tools. I made a hammer for Joanna Taylor Smith at her request. She paid me 20 bucks, I think, maybe 40, I don't know. I had made that at Ken and Leah's. And I'd already been assaulted by her boyfriend Derek Parrish over an argument that he and Joanna Taylor Smith were having like 2 days earlier. My words didn't come out right. They didn't come out perfectly, and he fucking threw a goddamn tantrum over it for 2 fucking days. It's like, hey, let's go outside and take a walk. We can talk about this. When we got outside, he just wanted to fight. I wasn't okay with that. So the people that I'm going to for help, I'm not able to get help from. Joanna Taylor Smith is offering to help, but she can't help me because, well, she's too busy with her own pretty white girl words. And then there's the fact that Derek wouldn't stop throwing his fucking tantrum for 2 holy fucking shit days. So I left. I'd already gone to Miss Peaches for help about it. And Miss Peaches and A-Bear and that bullshit. When I was up there in Rapid City, South Dakota with Jamie, she had helped me to get an iPad thingy, or a tablet, whatever. By the way, Desiree later stole that from me. There's risks inherent in rescuing junkies. There's the risk that they're gonna steal your shit. There's the risk that they're gonna have a psychotic fucking overload an episode, and you're gonna be their fucking target because you're the closest one to them. But with Jamie and being up there in South Dakota and me wanting my life to end, I made a fake account, the Michelle Brannick one. I made it so I could destroy my Facebook. I didn't want people to target Natalie and Maddie and Alycia. I just wanted my life to be over, and when it didn't work and I was on the bus, I was able to get hold of James Golden, and he actually met me at the Greyhound station. But also while I was on the bus, I used that Michelle Brannick account to get a hold of Maddie and Alycia and Natalie and say, hey, you know, I need help. If I can tell the truth, I gave them, all 3 of them, my phone numbers so they call me and talk to me like a person. I'd already gotten harassment from Natalie telling me that she wanted to serve me with a protection order and wanted an address to do it at. I didn't have a fucking address that I could do it at. I couldn't have the cops showing up at Ken and Leah's, because then I would have ended up, well, in a very screwed up situation. This whole time, apparently Natalie was in Colorado this whole time, and I just didn't know it. And of course, when I was on the bus and tried to reach out to him and get some fucking help, I got the same goddamn treatment that you always get from fucking junkies. I'd gone to the cops on multiple occasions. They didn't do shit. They didn't fucking care because I'm broke and I got a dick. Oh, it was fucking frustrating. I mean, here I was trying to get a protection order because I'm having people actually threaten me and assault me in real fucking life over their goddamn rumors. In real life, in addition to threatening me and harassing me across the internet. Oh, I mean, I'm having a fucking mental breakdown. Who wouldn't after that shit? They turned my whole life upside down because I was dehydrated on my fucking birthday and had a broken fucking phone and a broken fucking car. All I wanted when I was in Virginia when that whole situation happened was to explain, hey, the phone is fucking broken, ladies. It's broken. It's broken, okay? I am severely dehydrated and my phone is broken. And the place that you told me to stay, you're not there anymore. Natalie was going to meet me on Monday to talk about it. I was there to rescue Natalie. She was pissed off and freaking out about her family and was suicidal over how her family was treating her in Virginia. Like, no matter what she said, it must have been because she's a junkie. She must be wrong because she's a junkie. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that'll push somebody to fucking use. Chapel sucks. Now, the Michelle Brannick account, obviously with me wanting to kill myself, it's not like I hid who I was. You can see in Natalie's final post, you can see in that screenshot, this ugly mug. You can see that I was not hiding who I was. I had let them know who I was. I was trying to get a stop put to that bullshit. I've been going to Kara Heller trying to get help stopping that bullshit, and Jeff Ritter stopping that bullshit. And finally it came to a fucking head. I mean, Ken and Leah ripping me off. Just not cool. And Ken was going to pay me back on December 8th, and he didn't. And of course, they've got fucking druggy bullshit going on all the goddamn time, and Leah and Ken are being highly abusive towards her autistic son. His name is Gabriel, and he is an adult now. So fucked up. I mean, Ken had initiated and instigated several altercations with Gabriel. Gabriel wasn't fighting back. He wasn't even trying to fight back. Ken was just being a fucking dick. And all Leah did was sit on her fucking bed all day and fucking smoke weed and buy shit online. That's what she did. That's what they did with my money. Smoked a bunch of weed with it. I even made a video at that point where I had shown that pot doesn't help me when I'm by myself. There's no reason for me to smoke pot when I'm by myself. It makes shit worse. It gives me anxiety, so I'd rather just not smoke pot. Of course, with Maddie Boa, she had a history of pulling that bullshit with others, including Brian Townsend. I just wanted it to fucking stop. While she was playing victim, I was being victimized because she wanted to play victim. I was being stalked because she wanted to pretend that she was stalked. People actually were threatening to kill me because she wanted to pretend that I threatened to kill her and her family, or threatened to hurt her and her family, or whatever the fuck it was. I just needed this shit to stop. But nobody fucking cared. So it all came to a head in December. In December, I had a severe fucking meltdown. I mean, hardcore. I just fucking laid in Ken and Leah's garage for 3 days. I fucking couldn't move. And Jeff Ritter, I'd been talking with him about trying to get some legal action against these people for months. And he said, well, I talked to a lawyer. We've got a lawyer through the Colorado Coalition of the Homeless, and he says he can't do anything until you got some paperwork. If you don't have any paperwork, we can't do anything. See, there's always a reason they can't do anything. Always. And going to the cops is not something that I would normally do because I know how the cops treat us. But it was that severe. The harassment and bullying was that severe. And I did type a lot of really mean shit. Natalie isn't the only person I typed to that she's a fucking cunt. So we're all the way at the beginning of December of 2017. Jamie was telling me she was afraid of James Payton and afraid of living in the same town as him, and so we're going to be in contact every week. And then she ghosted me for 2 weeks. Of course I'm going to be afraid. So I fucking flipped shit. James had a girlfriend at the time, and I got on and let his girlfriend know what James had done to Jamie. Well, at least Jamie's version of the story. And because of the safety issues and because I was freaked out, obviously I was overwhelmed. Probably the first thing I should have done is call the cops. And that's not what I did, though, is it? No. On the 8th of December, Ken didn't pay me the money that he owed me. On the 9th of December of 2017, I reached out to Rose M. Kelly and explained to her that I was the autistic moron who was honking outside of her house back in 2016. I let her know how I was being treated and the rumors that were being told that I was being harmed over. But she didn't see it. Not until well after her daughter was dead. So, on the 12th of December, I had gotten onto Ted's site, and I didn't know how to do the whole screenshot thing with my computer yet. A guy named Josh Hughes had taught me how to do it on my old computer that had gotten stolen, but I didn't know how to do it on the new one, and it wasn't the same. So what I did is I did the copy and paste thing, and I copied it and pasted it on a video. I was fucking pissed. I was sick of this shit. And I'd made a few videos saying exactly what was going on. Hey, I'm getting treated like a fucking rapist and a child molester and fucked up shit, you know? I've been dealing with this for over a year. I was pissed. So, of course, I posted that up, and of course I posted it to my timeline. I also put it on Ted's. I also spoke out about Tim. I let Natalie know that I was going to retaliate it if she didn't come forward and tell the truth. I couldn't get a protection order against any of these people because I got a dick. And I was obviously not wearing nice, pretty clothes. I didn't have nice, pretty clothes. I was spending a lot of money to travel back and forth to appointments with people who weren't doing a goddamn thing. And so the 13th, I got a call from Natalie saying that I fucked things up way worse with her family. Really? Really? No, her family was already fucked. She had fucked things up way worse for my family. Or for me and my family. With me not able to go see my older brother without having to worry about threats and harassment and assaults by a bunch of fucking junkies. It was a major issue. That's my familiarity. That is my safety network. And it was gone. So, On the 13th, I was fucking still sleeping when she made that call. So then, of course, on the 15th, she wants to meet with me. She doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want to argue. She wants to meet me in person. Well, fine, we'll meet somewhere public. She wanted to meet at the Starbucks on Pearl Street. I was not comfortable at the Starbucks on Pearl Street. So, I told her I wanted to meet her at the police station. That's where I wanted to meet her, at the police station. And I let Ken and Leah know that I was leaving. And I was using a cane at the time because the broken one that Alycia had given me, that was Natalie's old phone, I fucking stomped on it. And I got 2 recordings with Jamie's son, who was a witness to me breaking it. And I did break it. I did. I was having a rough time. I'd gotten into an argument with Mark Swanigan and an argument with Joanna Taylor Smith. They just wanted to tell me pretty fucking words, like those pretty words are gonna fix it. They don't. They don't. I needed those people to stop telling me pretty words and listen to what the fuck was going on. And of course, with Joanna Taylor Smith wanting to retaliate against Maddie and Alycia and Natalie if I fucking killed myself, you know what? Joanna Taylor Smith could have shut the fuck up and listened. It was people like Joanna Taylor Smith who were pushing me to suicide more than any of these other people, because I'm trying to get help and I'm hearing a pretty white girl tell me pretty white girl words. I didn't want Natalie and Alycia and Maddie to be retaliated against when I killed myself. I just wanted the bullshit to fucking stop. And of course, Natalie stole my suicide, didn't she? On the 15th, she was sending me those messages. I got a hold of Miss Peaches, aka Kayla Trujillo. And I walked all the way from Ken and Leah's on South Zuni, up Federal, all the way to where there was a bus stop that took me a few blocks, but I had walked over 100 blocks by that point. Now, I had messaged Natalie that I had walked over 60 blocks. But when Natalie was messaging to Tim Beeson, she said that I had walked over 100, which means that they were stalking my Facebook. Meanwhile, Tim Beeson is one of these people who had been threatening me and harassing me and all of this other bullshit. He's one of the predators who is doing this bullshit to me. He's one of her predators. And here I am dealing with his fucking bullshit. Not cool. Now I got to the Starbucks, which is where Natalie wanted to meet. It was a different Starbucks. The Starbucks on Broadway and Pearl. Or no, Broadway and University, I believe. And Natalie didn't show up. It was pretty obvious that I was worried about her safety because she was going to try to hurry. I said, fuck hurrying. It turned out it was a protection order, and I was fucking pissed. The officer came in, I want to say Michael West, came in. He didn't tell me how the protection order worked. I didn't know how they worked. I just assumed that it was a protection order and that I would have to fight it in court. But I didn't know anything. I didn't even know there was such thing as a temporary protection order. And so I got a hold of Jeff Ritter, who had been saying all this stuff about how I needed paperwork. I called him up and I let him know, hey, I got some paperwork. I didn't even look at it. There was no need to. I hadn't been told that there was a court date or that I had an opportunity to go actually do something about it. Not that it mattered. I didn't have the money to go there anyway. And I didn't know how to show any of the evidence except to actually take in the literal computer and show it, which is what I had actually showed up there to where Natalie wanted to meet to do. I took my computer so that I could show her the threats and the harassment by people like Tim Beeson and these other fake accounts. I took my phone so that I could show her, hey, you see these numbers? These numbers are calling me up and threatening to kill me because of you. Chelsea Worsing I had gotten a hold of to see if she could come and be there so that I could feel safe being around Natalie. I had made a video on my YouTube on my way to that when I was on my 100-block walk with a fucked up back and a fucked up foot. And in that video, I had explained that I'm going to see Natalie, and there's a chance that it's Natalie. There's also a chance that it's one of these bullies or harassers who's going to try pulling some bullshit. And of course, there's also the chance, more than likely, that it'll be the cops. And guess what? It was the cops. I was right. I'm very, very astute when it comes to that stuff. And yeah, I was pissed, but I didn't message her after that. I spoke out about how fucked up the situation was, and about how this shit happens all the time to homeless people. You cannot be a good man if you're homeless. You're not allowed. You are preyed upon. That is your life. There's lots of help for women, but not much for men. Not unless you're a convicted felon who just got out. I went back to Ken and Leah's, of course, and I was still having problems with Ken and Leah and Dawn, of course. Dawn was understanding, and so was Bo. And both of them were like, well, it really does suck, and you're absolutely right. They shouldn't be taking advantage of you like that and increasing your rent, and Leah expecting you to do a bunch of stuff that you're not physically able to do as often as she wants you to. I couldn't work on my own stuff because Leah had me so busy doing her shit. And then she wants to come out and micromanage shit that she doesn't know nothing about, but me and Ken both do. She just made it a giant pain in the ass to do anything. And so, apparently I had court on the 22nd, and I didn't know it. On the 23rd is when I got paid my disability money. Ken and Leah needed more money, more money, more money. They have ripped me off for a bunch of money. And now they're expecting me to give them money, and expecting me to contribute to Leah's marijuana again. Christmas comes around. It was a fucking shitty day after Christmas. I'm like, hey, Ken, I can't do this, alright? I can't. You took my money. You need to pay me back. I don't have anywhere else to go. I moved out of my place in Chapel to move down here, and as soon as I moved here, you and Leah took complete advantage of me, and I need my fucking money. I can't just keep on doing this. And Dawn Bird got all pissed off and come huffing and puffing out of her fucking room and slamming me and assaulting me with her breasts, slamming them into me. Now, when she was doing that, I was already backed into the sink by Ken, who was screaming in my face. So now I've got 3 very hostile adults that are around me, and Dawn Bird is assaulting me, and she kept on bumping me with her tits, boobs, breasts, whatever word you want to use for it, until I went out the door. I got a hold of Miss Peaches and said, hey, I need help. So I walked most of the way to her place. Again, this is the second time I walked most of the way to her place. And I finally got to her place on 120th and Melody. Of course, Natalie wanted to pretend like I was stalking her because I was going to Miss Peach's fucking house. And you think Miss Peaches will speak up about this? No, she wants to be a fucking stupid cunt. You don't like the word cunt? Get the fuck over it. And of course, that was on the 26th. On the 27th, Miss Peaches had surgery, so she wasn't able to help. But the next day she was going to help me, and I was so fucking grateful. Finally, Miss Peaches was going to take a look at what I was going through. And Jeff Ritter, of course, he had told me about the whole lawyer thing. He said that he wouldn't be able to do anything about it until after the first of the year. That's what he had told me on the 16th of December of 2017. And, you know, I was overwhelmed. And on the 28th, this is after Miss Peaches has had her back surgery. My back is still completely fucked. We're going to sit down and look at this stuff that is in my backpack that I brought with me. The same backpack that I had brought to try to show Natalie on the 16th. I've got it with me on the 26th and the 27th and the 28th over at Miss Peaches' house. And we're going to look at it after dinner, and that's when I get the call. Now, my conversations with most of these people that are recorded on YouTube show that I was telling the truth about that. I had been trying to get help the entire fucking time. I was trying to get help. Help, H-E-L-P. And all of these services you're supposed to go to for help, to this day, have not helped. They have done nothing about the abuse. These cops, obviously, that I had gone to before Natalie was killed. You think they're going to help me after Natalie's dead? Fuck no. People are dead because of their fucking negligence. I'm a disabled adult, dumbass. It's a fucking felony for people to do this shit to me. And it's also against the law for the cops to fucking blow me off, but I didn't have anyone go in with me in person. I was trying to get Laura Nelson to go in with me in person before Natalie was ever fucking killed. So when we found out that Natalie Bollinger was missing, well, we didn't get to work on any of the shit that we were going to work on. Instead, her and her brother, that would be Miss Peaches, and her brother, Gilbert Ortega, he was the first one to actually go through the paperwork of the protection order. He was the first one to actually look at it. I didn't look at it until I was at Candace's in January. Miss Peaches did not go in with me. She went in a separate vehicle. I went in the fucking police cruiser. Now, I had already contacted the police on several occasions since finding out that Natalie was missing. And I had spoken with Detective Erica and Detective... God, I've got his name in my screenshots somewhere. And they met me at this little gas station because Miss Peaches doesn't want cops at her house. Now, when they took me down to the cop shop, it was a little over an hour drive to Adams County. Like, why is it that Natalie was killed 5 blocks from where Miss Peaches lived? 5 blocks from where she lived. And we had to drive a whole shit ton of time to get to the station where they're supposed to be investigating it. And I got there, and of course Miss Peaches is not in the room with me. She's not there for my safety. These cops can do whatever they want. And I've explained to her, hey, I need you to talk to me one-on-one on multiple occasions prior to this. And she's just not having it. Like, she's having her brother come out and fucking bitch at me, and I'm overwhelmed. I can't handle both of them talking at once. I need one-on-one time with Miss Peaches, okay? But she wasn't having it. She wasn't understanding how important it was. But then, when I'm at the cop shop, she was like, oh, well, you know, I thought you wanted to talk to him one-on-one. No, Peaches, I needed you there for my own safety, so that they wouldn't pull the fucking tricks that they did, so that I would have a witness present if they tried to fucking violate my goddamn rights. At that point, all I was interested in doing was trying to help find Natalie, to help her get safe. And I did message Natalie on that day. I messaged her twice to let her know that she needs to call her mom and let her mom know that she's safe. If she needs money to get somewhere safe, she can have my money. I will send it to her. I just wanted her to be safe. It took a lot of people not giving a shit, going out of their way to make stupid assumptions rather than look at what's going on. Busy talking over me, or ganging up on me 2 or 3 or more on one, where I'm not getting a word in edgewise. Multiple occasions where I was assaulted by the people that I was trying to get help from over stupid shit. Yeah, none of these people are going to come forward and tell the truth. Even the ones who claimed that they were going to never fucking did. Which is why when I was at Shannon Alvarado's, I recorded that shit. I had to do desperate shit to try to get help. All of these people after Natalie disappeared telling me that people are threatening their lives. Cara fucking Rogers, aka Cara Mia's, telling me that people are sending her pictures of her son with a noose around his neck and all sorts of fucking creepy shit like this. Yeah, goddamn right, I was fucking freaking out. Candace Monderon is fucking flipping shit over a situation where it was a pocket dial with one of Natalie's ex-stepmoms, and they're wanting to pretend like they haven't been in contact with me. Fuck no. They got a hold of me first. Carl Rogers helped them to get a hold of me. They got a hold of me first. The same thing with Roseanne Kelly getting on my fucking Facebook about Shauna Sinclair's daughter going missing. And of course, Mandy Singer's son going missing. And she wants to fucking accuse me of being a stalker. No, I was the one fucking stalked. Not fucking cool. Now it's been 6 goddamn years of this bullshit. 6 years of people's empty goddamn words. 6 years of people throwing fucking tantrums over stupid shit. Hey, if you're gonna help me, you need to help me. If you're gonna get fucked up on drugs and alcohol, you're not helping.